Paperbrain's got an internship that's working on a top secret project right now. And I'm going to show you all the process that I go through when I'm animating a paper cutout character. For this project, we're starting out with templates that are designed and then printed. Once we print those templates, we're going to take the printed up sheets and we're going to cut out each of these individual little parts for our paper puppets, our paper characters. And once those are all cut out and organized, we'll be animating those in our stop motion animation software, Dragonframe. So we're going to start out by opening up Dragonframe. So I've already got all these pieces cut out. I'm going to show you my method for doing a simple little character animation like this. And then we're going to secure some pieces down, and then we're going to leave others just free floating. One option you have in Dragonframe in this media layers panel up here is you can import an image file or a movie. I've got a reference movie from the Animate imported in here because I just want to see some general blocking of where the character's motions are supposed to be. But I'm going to keep it barely visible because I want the main thing to be focusing on from frame to frame is how my parts look. So like I mentioned, we'll start by securing down the parts that we don't want to move, at least for the beginning of the animation. And what I usually use is just plain old tape. Double-sided works best, but if you don't have access to that, you can always make a little piece like this and loop it over. And I will start by putting the nurse's torso on this sticky spot. I want to make sure there's enough room that I can move some other parts underneath it. They are going to move, so I'm just going to try to do this without registering these legs down. So we're going to start with this head right here. Here is the arm and the clipboard. You know what? I think I'm going to attach these two pieces together. All right, cool. That's going to be good enough. Let's go ahead and take our first photo. And we're going to use our handy dandy little Dragonframe, our wireless keypad, as our trigger. First frame. And then I think I'm going to swap the head out because this nurse is going to look in this direction. And we have a few replacement pieces where the eyes move over a little bit. So to do that, I'm good with that. And then we're going to swap out again. Let's do that. Do a few more frames in this direction. Let's look ahead a few frames. This nurse is going to lean forward. So it looks like one of those legs is going to stay straight and the other one's going to kind of bend backwards. So we got a tap, a little tippity tappity thing hand right here. And we're going to go ahead and start to reveal that. So it looks like this shoulder's shifting down this way. Let's try to move it over. Rotate the head up just a bit. All right, let's see if things go to heck. We're just gonna have to put this one back on. Okay. We're gonna use this leg bottom. Ooh, that's a drastic motion, huh? Maybe too much? Yeah, I think so. Push that up just a tiny bit. Push that up just a tiny bit. All right. Let's get dramatic with this movement here. Let's really shift this guy forward. I'm taking the dainty tools down. And I want to get this man moving. Moving and a grooving. I'm going to shift this leg forward. You know, one thing I see though, I'm going to remove this arm. See if I can put it back kind of in the same spot it was before, because I didn't really move it much for the previous frame. Okay, we're going to finish this up real quick. Another big shifty frame. Ooh, man. You saw how I shifted that one. That's a lot of movement there, guys. Holy moly. I'm nervous about this one. Uh-oh. Then one more ultra tiny, just ease into it just a little bitty bit. Tiny, itty bitty movement. And such a tiny movement, you can barely even tell that I moved it. It's just a itsy bitsy little one. So we play this back. It's looking pretty good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to remove that arm, and put this piece right here. It's about the right spot, yeah? Ideally, I should secure that piece down. But I'm gonna play it risky. Risky biscuits. Tippity tappity. We want this to be fairly straight. Barely move it at all. Yeah. And now we're gonna go swap this piece out for this one. And we want it to be coming down just a little bit, because, ooh, that's way too much. No. We want to shift him back in this direction. We're going to start bringing this leg back down. You know what? We're just going to move this. And then I think we can remove this arm from the equation altogether. Kind of shift him back this way. And barely move him at all. Very tiny, subtle movement. Almost nothing. So let's see how this worked out. And we can loop that tapping if we need to some, if it needs to be longer. So now we're going to import that image sequence we just shot in DragonFrame into After Effects. I'm going to import it into this folder right here. So I'm going to select my folder, do Apple I to import. Going to find my DragonFrame project file. And I'm going to check off camera raw sequence. Whatever file type you filmed it in, you want to check off a sequence for it, because we want not just one image, but an image sequence, all those images. And this is the place where we can adjust things like the exposure, etc. I'm just going to leave it as is. Bring it on in. So by default on my preferences, I bring image sequences in at 12 frames per second because that's what we're working on for this project here. So I'm going to grab that image sequence and pull it down into this little icon right here to make a composition for it. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to rotate it since I filmed it upside down. Next I'm going to select my layer and go up to Effects, Keying, Key Light. And I'm going to pull or use the screen color dropper and go to the lightest area in my chroma key. Okay, so in the view, I'm going to go to screen matte now. And it's going to leave white what it's not keying, and everything it's keying is going to be black. So right away we're going to crank things up. We see it's pulling from our character a little bit, so that's where we need to mess with the screen balance. And since it's pulling the blues, it looks like, I'm going to bring that screen balance down to about 35. And that, from a distance, that looked pretty good. Here it looks like we're still pulling up some stuff, so the next thing we'll go to is the screen matte, and the clip white is what I usually mess with, and I'm going to bring that down just until I see all that noise disappear. Oops, what happened? Oh, I moved this up. Oh no, where'd it go? Okay. Yeah, so most of that noise is gone. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to change the replacement method to source. So we want to use the source colors. We don't want it to start subbing and replacing colors. Go back to final result. All right, pretty skippy. Let's take a look at it. I think we're going to make a garbage mat around it just to make sure there are no specks, things like that are left behind. Yeah. Another thing we can do screen shrink grow. We can pull it into the negatives a little bit to mess with those edges. I don't do that unless I have to, because I like to keep the integrity of those edges if at all possible. But sometimes just a tiny bit of softness is a nice thing to add, so it's not so sharp and crisp on the edges. You know what? I think that's pretty good. Alright, so next I'm going to just go ahead and you go up to the pen tool up here, and then you start making your garbage mat that follows pretty closely your subject. Okay, it's not until here that things start moving. So we'll go ahead and put that first keyframe right here because it doesn't move any before that point. And now I'm going to just toggle hold keyframe because I want every time I make a change to the mask, I want it to make a keyframe, but I don't want it to do in-betweens in between each of the keyframes, so I want it to be a hold keyframe. Alright, we gotta change this a lot. This is where Mr. Nurse starts getting ready to tippy-toe. Oop. I see we missed a spot right there. And we're just gonna go frame by frame. That's how we key them out. So now we're ready to stick this fella in the scene he's supposed to go. And this concludes my little walkthrough video of my process of animating a paper cutout character. You can call it a tutorial if you like, but I think more so you're just kind of getting to sit on my shoulder and see how I deal with stuff in real time as I'm animating a paper cutout character. So if you like this, let me know. I can do more stuff like this. I could also make more condensed tutorials. And if you have something specific you'd like to ask me about, please do in the comments. This project right here that I was working on to put this tutorial together, this is something that we're creating in the internship I'm doing for Paper Brain. And we have some amazingly talented people that are a part of it. So I want to give a shout out to all the interns that were a part of this. And in the description box below, I highly encourage all of you who are watching this to go check out their work, because there's some amazing creative professionals. That's it for now. If you want me to do more, like and comment about what you want me to do next.